Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair, took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no home, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I was soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my low, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't relate but like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I was soon. Knew as a child, back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare the show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this brace, I'm going in a new gear, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.
Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, Bitcoin, oh my God, it's up, it's down, it's sideways, it's just, dang. This price action is absolute garbage, guys. But we're going to cover some of the key levels, and specifically today, guys, I want to talk about the probability of a potential fake out of all-time highs. And I don't mean a fake out as in breaking the all-time high, but I want to cover some of those big key macro levels of resistance. Is the top in on Bitcoin? We've been talking about this a lot. Now, as we hold our $107,000 to $108,000 key level of support, the bull market support band, that anchor VWAP, the golden pocket, obviously the doorway into a new all-time high is open. But I want to have you guys I want to keep you guys prepared, right? Looking at some key levels above. We took a slight look at it last night, but I want to talk about the possibility of potentially coming up for a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low to come in on Bitcoin. So we're going to cover that. I'll cover all the local levels. But yeah, Bitcoin just chopping around sideways here, guys. Just still holding along from the bottom, waiting for this thing to play out. Are we going to see that push up to 115K and potentially even $120,000? Well, we'll find out, and hopefully I can answer that question for you guys on tonight's live stream show. Shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Jack in the chat. What is going on, man? Welcome in. We got Jesse, our like police guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. We're doing a triple giveaway this Friday, so if we get, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the likes here with the sideways price action, but if we get 1,000, you know, we'll make it, yeah, if we get 1,000 likes, we'll add something special to the giveaway. Maybe some Frankie Candles hats, maybe some free Solana. We'll see what you guys want, but smash up that like button. It helps us out endlessly here on the YouTube channel, guys. It sends us out into the algorithm. So smash that like button, share, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. Share the Mafia, spread the good gospel of the Frankie Candles sauce. But let's see here. We got Jesse in the chat. Welcome in. Erica, what is going on? We got Keeping It Real Since podcast. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Keeping it real, bro. Is Bitcoin going to zero or what? Let us know. Do you know? If you do, please tell me. I just asked Tony what he thinks Bitcoin's going to do, and I come up here and just draw lines on a chart. But anyway, we got Servando Estrada in the chat, my paisan. Welcome in, bro. We got Erica in the chat. Frank Brook in the chat said BTC only goes up. Well, hey, Frank, first of all, nice name. Second of all, if you zoom out far enough, that is true. That is true. But yeah, we got Panda the Prophet in the chat said, need me a hat. Crypto is going to be useless when it goes to zero. Shout out to Panda Prophet. Yeah, maybe we should start giving out some fiat. But anyway, guys, with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Skizzle says, keeping it real since we met at the Diddy party. Good Lord. Well, anyway, guys, with that being said, on that note, let's go ahead and jump on into the Diddy, the charts. Let's get into it. Oh, God, man, we're already derailed here. And, guys, by the way, I know I make this announcement every day, but it's going to be a short stream, guys. Watch this. It's not going to be a 2-hour stream. Might be the only time I've ever lied here on the YouTube channel is when I say it's going to be a short stream, but there's really not much to cover. We're going to cover some of the altcoins as well, but starting over here on Bitcoin, guys, as we have obviously, no news to anybody here, there's not really much of an update here macro, right? We got the fake out of the all-time high. Obviously, we took that short position, closed it down here, flipped long. I am holding that long position over here on Femex. Just waiting for this thing to move, guys, to be quite honest. Just sitting in this position, now up 1766. It's up 2,500. It's up 1,700. It's up 2,500. It's up 1,700. It's just bing-bonging around here in this super choppy price action. But I am continuing to hold my position. I'm not going to go too deep into this. I've talked about the potential of coming down and sweeping the liquidity below $107,000 once again. But I'll be honest, guys. I'm sitting on my hands here, right? I'm waiting for that sweep of 107K to either add to my long position or maybe even take some new longs. And then the next biggest level of support or resistance to the upside is going to be that $115,000 level, right? And this is just the same thing we've been looking at. An anchored VWAP just holding us down here, guys. This is the only level we have between where we're at now and that $115,000 level. But I'm simply waiting for the bigger shorts up here. Hopefully we can get some signals up there. If not, this could show a big sign of strength for Bitcoin to get that bigger rip up towards 120K, which I do want to talk about today. But the longer I hold this, guys, obviously when we look at the heat maps, let me actually pull up the heat maps really quickly here. Bada boom, bada bing. But, the longer I hold this position, guys, obviously, if we don't come down and sweep that liquidity, it's totally fine. I am holding that position. It will pay me out. But I would like to potentially add to this position if we do come back down to those lows. But we do have that liquidity sitting here. This is taking forever to load. We've taken a look at these heat maps quite some time for, probably like 15 times. Almost every live stream I show that liquidity. So you have to believe me, Mafia. It is down there. But the more I hold this, right, the more I start to think, the further up you creep here, right, the more people are going to look to long down here, which doesn't really necessarily make me think that we won't do it, but it is just starting to look a little bit more obvious, right? And the further away we get from that liquidity, potentially, the less strong that magnet becomes. So it's really only if we get that move down, I'll start to look at the idea of potentially coming down to sweep that liquidity. But if not, right, I'm just going to hold that position for higher prices. And the question here, guys, is how likely is the continuation up here? Well, we looked at the levels yesterday. Anchored VWAP still sitting at it was sitting at 113.5. Now it's a little closer to 113.3. We already getting slapped down from this level quite a few times, right? We got hit once, we got hit twice, and we just cannot get above it. But if we are able to get above this anchored VWAP, guys, the $115,000 level is the level to watch. Now, I will be looking for shorts up here, guys, but it is never, right? We have some short setups of what we're looking for here as far as confirmations go. If we come into this level, we're looking for that in the premium Discord, but this does not mean that if price comes up here, I just instantly short, right? I need to see the confirmations to actually enter the trade. For example, right, for the long position, we had the 4-hour bullish divergences with an SFP of the low. I actually answered a little bit before this, but we did get those 4-hour bullish divergences. You get the lower lows on your price action. You get the higher lows on your momentum waves, and then you even got an SFP of the low here. So I'm going to be looking not for the exact same confirmations, but we will have to see those confirmations, right? If we came down to this key level, and we don't get confirmations, right, I'm probably sitting out of that position, right? The actual confirmations is what gives us the idea that you're actually going to get a reaction from that level, which helped us enter the long position here. So, it's not just going to be come up to this level and take a short, and it's actually specifically very important at this level that I see confirmation, because if we are not going to get those confirmations and we flip that $115,000 level to support, this is clearly going to give us the idea that we can very easily get that rotation up to the POC of the range, and anytime we get above those value area lows, guys, we are going to eventually anticipate the full fill of that volume profile, pushing us up into the $120,000 zone. We know we have liquidity sitting above 119K, which could assist that move up there. But these are also very, very important resistances, right? I would say, right, for the most part, the $115,000 zone is the strongest level of resistance, right? We have a weekly MPOC, we have a monthly MPOC, we have a daily MPOC, or the value area low, daily MPOC, monthly MPOC, weekly MPOC, and we even have a monthly horizontal sitting just above that. So you could even extend that level up a little bit. This is an absolutely massive level of resistance. We've talked about this many a times, but flipping this level can be very big, right? Pushing us up towards that point of control, which is also somewhat of an important level of resistance. And why is that, right? Well, if I pull up a clean chart here just to look at a higher time frame, it is the Golden Pocket 786, pulled from the all-time high all the way to the low here, right? Golden Pocket sitting at about 117 to 118.5, and then you have the 786 sitting up here at about $121,000, right? $120,900. this is going to be the last level. And I know I've been talking a lot about the 115K level, and that is obviously for a very specific reason, right? I've talked about all that confluence we have in here. But just to kind of show it on a clean chart, right? Just pull from the high to the low. This is going to be that last level where you have an opportunity to put in a lower high before a lower low. And, this is not really my base case. Obviously, as long as we hold on top of our $107,000 to $108,000 golden pocket macro level of support, right? The doorway to potentially put in all-time highs. And again, there's that golden pocket and that 786, the opportunity for lower highs and lower lows. But the idea of potentially coming in for a new parabolic move into new all-time highs is possible, but I want to talk about this, right? The level that we have to break above is going to be obviously the value area high, but also that 786 Fibonacci retracement, right? That would invalidate the idea. Let's say you come up here, right? You could potentially put the lower high in at that 786 for the lower low to come in, which would call for a break of structure to the downside. But that 786, right? Once you get on top of that, right, it kind of invalidates the idea of that lower high coming in and would make it much more probable to see a new all-time high come up, right, or come in. So, we have a lot of work to do here, right? And this is why, I wasn't a huge fan of losing this range because, sure, is it impossible to get up here and go to new all-time highs? Absolutely not. But we're going to have to play it level to level because when we look at the daily money flow, which helps us analyze what the longer-term trend continuation is going to be, well, very clearly, guys, this is coming into the red. And we talked about this yesterday with the way these momentum waves are forming. If we get that red dot, we are going to be looking for a continuation down here. And if we are able to come sweep that liquidity below $107,000, we will then have a daily bullish divergence, which would be a very, very nice high time frame signal for a much stronger bounce to the upside. And that's kind of why I'm sitting here waiting for my key levels to get hit to the downside or the upside to look for the next trade, right, or the next short or the next long. So, when I look at this locally, I'll go into this a little bit more in just a second, but, even if we do get up here above 115K, we still have to be very careful around the golden pocket and the 786. The nice thing here is we are long from the low if we do come up from here, but once we get inside this range, we could just use this volume profile as our guide for price. Flip the value area low, maybe money flow on the daily is coming back up. This is my preference here. This does not mean it's the highest probability outcome, but I would actually prefer a little bit of a bigger drop down here to put in that daily bullish divergence to then come up here. And I think if you put that daily bull div in, at that point, right, daily money flows come into a red wave. And then as you reclaim that $115,000 level, we could potentially see that money flow cross over into the green, which would give me a lot more conviction in a potential new all-time high incoming. If we come up sooner than later, right, at that point, it's like, well, hey, maybe we get a little pullback here. Money flow is in the red. And then, if money flow is coming out as we approach these levels, we do still have to be very careful of macro lower highs and lower lows to come. And, again, we have the rate cuts coming down the line. Obviously, I'm going to take a look at the altcoins. I'll kind of update you guys on my thoughts about alt season. But these are the biggest levels to look at on the chart. It's very, 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 very simple, right? It's just the volume profile. And then all of these, the key levels within the volume profile, the high, the POC, and the value area low, all have confluence with very significant levels. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at. I am sitting on my hands, guys. It is a waiting game. I even saw you guys talking in chat about how price action is just like super boring, super choppy. Bitcoin's falling asleep, and that is absolutely true, right? And I know, right, we got the little drop to the downside. What were we looking at yesterday, guys, before we got this little pull? Let me pull up the local range here real quick, right? As we got this drop to the downside, we were looking at the golden pocket 786. And we were looking for very specific signals here to indicate that we were going to get that move down to the POC. And this just goes to show you, I'll even hide this purple box to simplify things, right? It just goes to show you the power of the volume profiles. And technically, this volume profile was pulled back just a little bit, right? So the value area high was actually sitting right down here. But the power of the volume profiles, guys, right? We have the golden pocket 786 value area high. At that moment, right, what were we saying yesterday? We were looking for the 4-hour red dot to print. Back here, 4-hour red dot to print, but more specifically, we were looking for that 15-minute money flow crossover into the red to indicate that we were indeed going to lose that to indicate that we were indeed going to lose that golden pocket. And once you lose that golden pocket, we were going to be looking down. Whoops, that was the wrong part of the price. Lose that golden pocket and come on down to that POC, which got tapped got tapped absolutely perfectly there. And look what happens here, guys. That 15-minute money flow crossover into the red is the indication of that continuation down with the confluence on our 4-hour red dot. When you see these confluences, guys, the 4-hour 15-minute market cipher B bearish setup, you You have the 4-hour red dot printing. At that point, that 15-minute money flow crossover is going to indeed indicate that drop to the downside. And what did we talk about here, right? Once we came down to that POC, we were being very careful for a potential bounce off that point of control to put in a higher high. And that was based off the 4-hour money flow being in the green. Yes, the 15-minute money flow indicates the continuation down through the context of the 15-minute time frame, right? But when the 4-hour money flow is cooking into the green like it is, right, the bounce off that POC was very likely to see another higher high come in. It's exactly what we saw, right? So we got that nice drop down from the value area high into the POC, little bounce off the point of control. I was in a short position here, letting the Discord know, like, hey, TP1 here at the point of control, as we expected. And then I moved my stop loss. I got stopped out. Of course, right? It's like every time I go to sleep and I move my stop loss, it's like I think I'm like 15 for 15 of getting stopped out while I'm sleeping. So, it is what it is. Not a bad trade, but it is a little bit frustrating because all we had to do was come out and take that high, and now we're continuing back down. So when we look at this locally, guys, I will just say, again, not super, no real big updates on the higher time frames. I would say if you're new here or you're just tuning in for the first time in a while because Bitcoin is sleeping and you're bored and just like, let me see what the market's doing. These are the biggest levels to pay attention to. Number one, 114.4 all the way up to 115.7. And then above that, once you get above this value area low, next level to look at, in my opinion, is going to be between 117.5 and 118.5. And then, again, even once you flip that 115K zone, you could potentially anticipate the full fill of this range. Obviously, you got to get above the POC first, but generally, these will fill in full. The reason I would say be careful around the POC is because it is that macro golden pocket. And then above that, right, we know that not only do we have, let me see if I could get these heat maps to load because it would really, really assist me in showing you guys where this liquidity is sitting. Bada boom. Come on, heat maps. You could do it. You could do it. There we go. Let me see here. Gonna have to pull up the 2-week. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. Wow, I'm gonna have to pull up the monthly chart. Dang. Come on. That's how long Bitcoin has been chopping around here. All right, so there we go. If I pull this up now, you guys can see here, we have the liquidity around that 117 to 118K zone, and then we have another big hotspot of liquidity up towards 100K, right? So again, once you get above that $115,000 level, right, you have liquidity potentially sucking you up here, and then once you get above here, you have liquidity sucking you up to that last level. So 786 value area high sitting between 120, 166, and 120,900. Those are the three biggest levels to look at on the higher time frame. Other than that, really nothing has changed. Money flow is still coming out on the daily, potentially giving us the idea of the lower high and lower low, or I'm sorry, lower high and lower low, and the continuation of this overall downtrend. But other than that, I'm just going to cover the local levels here because I don't want to keep yapping about these high time frames because literally nothing has changed. So let's pull up those local time frames here. Let's pull up the 30-minute, right? So we're just kind of inside this local range, guys, just to keep it nice and simple. I'll even get rid of this resistance zone. I'll even get rid of this golden pocket. I'll even get rid of this daily level, right? So right now, I would say value area high locally, 112,942, POC sitting at 111,219, and then the value area low sitting here at about 109,928. For me personally, guys, if I'm going to look for another long position, if we're not going to go ahead and sweep if we're not going to go ahead and sweep the $107,000 zone, I'll just be treating this as a volume profile. And again, I would be holding that short from the tippy top here if we didn't get that scam bounce off the POC. But again, just generally value area high. Once you reject the value area high, next likely place for price to go is the POC. 4-hour money flow is coming up, so we knew there was a probability that we would come up and potentially put in a higher high based off that money flow on the 4-hour. But at the end of the day, guys, we are just still rejecting the value area high. Can't get back out. POC is the next likely stop. Once we lose this POC, I'm going to be looking down towards that value area low. And this is somewhat confluent with a golden pocket. Again, is this the best opportunity for a massive long position? I wouldn't say it is. I would say 107K, the sweep of liquidity down there might be a little better. But I'm just going to be, as Bitcoin is just going sideways within this range, right? I have no other option, which is nice, right? Because kind of my bread and butter here is trading the volume profiles. We'll just be looking for longs below the lows, right? For potential rotations back up into the range. And who knows, maybe we hopefully Hopefully not. But maybe we just range around here for a while. But this is just what I'm viewing as far as the day trades and the lower time frame trades. Value area high, PLC, value area low, right? We rejected the high, looking for that full rotation. If we get back down to the low, we can look for new longs or day trades back up to the high. And then whether we want to get the breakout here or we just want to kind of, yeet on out of here for no reason, that's fine too. But I would say, for me personally, I'll be looking down towards about 109,928 down to the golden pocket ending at about 109,363. So just trading this as a typical volume profile, right? This could be a good opportunity for anybody who's new to give a try to the Frankie Candles Essentials indicator, right? I'll actually pull this up real quick, right? Because if you're just learning and, you don't even necessarily have to trade it live, but you can kind of just keep an eye on this. This basically encompasses my overall trading theory and trading strategy all in one simple indicator with confirmations, right? You can see deviation below the low, bullish divergences, right? You get the rotation back into the range, back to the POC, almost back to the high. If I pulled this to the local price action, right, where that range actually was, you can see you did almost push up to that high. Actually, it would be right here. Bada boom, right? So you get deviation below the low, nice bullish divergences marked out by that indicator. This is 100% free, guys. No phone number, no marketing, anything, right? This is just 100% free for the community. You could search my name in TradingView and get this on your chart right now. Bullish divergences, you get the sauce cans letting you know that you are getting those confirmations below the value area. This is where you want to be looking for long positions. Look for that rotation back into the range, back to the POC, and back to the high. So just because this is kind of turning into quite the, might I say, brutal range, is this going to update? There we go. And you can even see here, bearish divergence above the high, back to the PLC, back to the low, from the low to the PLC, back to the high. So, we could potentially look for that, right? And if you come on down to a lower time frame, we'll pull this up on a 30-minute time frame, right? If we do deviate below that value area low, right, maybe you can look for those divergences for a rotation back into the range, back to the POC, back to the high. All right, again, you're not going to trade these as just signals. You're not going to see a sauce can and just instantly long. You still have to understand how the market moves. You have to understand like what you're looking at when you're looking for the divergences, higher highs on price action, lower highs under momentum waves, right? You have to understand money flow, etc. But this will kind of help you identify like where we like to look for the trades. But I just kind of brought that up because this is like a nice clean range that you can use that indicator for. And I have a tutorial video in the beginner series if you guys want to check that out. And again, I have nothing to benefit from this. This is just a free tool. I know a lot of people get confused, like what the heck is this volume profile thing he keeps talking about? And I think that tool really helps people understand not only how to use the volume profiles, but also how you can trade them. You're essentially waiting for price to be overvalued, right? To look for short positions, back to the PLC, back to the low. When you go below the low, this is undervalued, where you want to look for longs for rotations back into the range to the PLC to the high. And you're not always going to get the beautiful rotations every single time, but it is a very, very high probability move for price. And one of the best trading tools you could possibly use, whether you're using the free trading version or the one that I have in collaboration with LuxAlgo. They're both the same tool. Mine just has a couple extra bells and whistles. So there you go. Other than that, guys, just kind of watching paint dry here. Really wish I did not get stopped out of that position here overnight. It was like 3 a.m. I got stopped out. But would have been really nice, right? Because typically we are holding those trades from the value area high to the low, and from the low to the high, etc. So yeah. Other than that, guys, not really too much to update. Daily money flow still coming out. Got to be careful. Macro remains the same. These are the local levels I'm looking at. Golden pocket. And then we also have a 786 down here in confluence with a daily level. So, you do have confluence here on the value area low as well, right? So I'm okay coming down to that value area low, looking for potential bounces. You have the daily, the value area low. But for me personally, right, I do prefer deviations below that volume profile to get back in and rotate to the high. But you could potentially just, bounce off the value area high and come down. But typically the deviations are what I look for. But locally, this will be the first level of support. If you deviate below, you have the golden pocket holding you up. Once you lose that golden pocket at about 109,328, I'll be looking down towards the 786 daily, sitting right here between about 108,548 and 108,189. So we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, again, although I am holding the long position, guys, I think for like the overall move here on the higher time frames, I would say I personally do prefer the drop to the downside, to be quite honest, right? I do prefer that next little drop down here to put in that daily bullish divergence, which could look pretty good, right? Especially if you get the SFP as well. And we compared this to previous price action that we've seen in the past, which has played out very similarly, like down here with the daily bull div, massive new rip to the upside. It's literally the same situation, right? You have your local range here, right? You break down out of the range, money flow comes out, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, daily bull div, and then as you creep back up, right? It's literally the exact same situation. I can't really stress that enough. You get above that value area low, flip it to support, And what happens, right? Money flow is crossing into the green. At that point, right, we're saying, hey, guys, I'm looking for new all-time highs. And then eventually, it took a while, but eventually you pop in to massive new all-time highs. So if we don't get that, if we don't get something like that, and it's not that you need the daily bull div, right? If we just crept up here with no daily bull div and the money flow starts crossing into the green, that could look good as well. But it would just look a little bit cleaner if you put that daily bull div in, give this money flow some time to play around, and then cross back into the green. And then as you cross back over that $115,000 value area high, it would be the same exact thing, right? It would be, hey, are we seeing the daily money flow cross back over into the green? At that case, right, I would be looking for potentially new all-time highs. Still aware of the resistance here, but definitely going to increase the chances, right? Because if that daily money flow crosses into the green, overall, you're going to be looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? So, yeah, those are my overall thought processes, guys. I don't really want to cover this. I don't want to beat the dead horse. It's just pretty simple. Until we lose that $107,000 level, there's really nothing to worry about, in my opinion. But you do have to keep in mind, as you have this high time frame money flow coming out, not only on the daily but also the 2-day, the idea here, right, what does this make us think? Any push to the upside could be lackluster for lower highs and lower lows. And if that daily money flow is going to continue out, and we see that lower high come in here, I mean, yikes, right? Like, that would be a macro lower high for a macro lower low, which could push us into that $104,000 last resort level. If we start breaking below that, guys, massive crash on Bitcoin, in my opinion, down to the 90s. So hopefully we don't have to deal with that, right? But we'll have to keep an eye on it day to day, and hopefully we'll have more to update. Hopefully something happens here in the next day or so we don't have to keep looking at the same dang chart every single day. But let's see. All right, let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Hey, shout out to Wick589. Thank you for the super chat. He said, Moon getting real full. Rate cuts finna pass. BTC, see the top of the bull. I'm shaking my Cass. That's Caspa, guys. Shout out to Wick589, one of the most prolific poets on earth. Shout out to Wick. Thank you for being here, bro. And Spiritual Trading Podcast every single day. Let's go. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. I'll just leave it there. Shout out to Spiritual Trading Podcast. The dedication is real, bro. I respect you. Anyway, let's continue on here. Yeah, shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Says, a question, Frankie. Why sometimes you pull the volume profile from a certain point and not all the way to the current price action? Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. I'm going to cover this very quickly because this is a very, very common question that I get. And I want to over-explain it or over-cover it. Obviously, I do have tutorials on the channel to show you how to use the volume profiles, not only where to pull them from, but also how to trade them specifically. But here's a perfect example. Where is it? Let me pull it up. I think it's on XRP. And I will go over the altcoins as well. I'm just going to bring this up as an example, right, on XRP. Okay, so what I look for, right, and I did update this XRP chart just a little bit simpler to look at now, right, a little bit easier to understand, right? We have massive support down below, macro golden pocket. You have the macro golden pocket, you have the anchored VWAP, and the value area high of your overall range. But you'll notice this is a previous value area, right? So the way I typically pull these is I will either pull the range to all you're doing when you're looking at the volume profiles is you're trying to mark out the balanced area on price. Once you get these impulses, you don't necessarily want to incorporate that, or I personally don't. It's not that you can't, but that's pretty much where I stop the profile, right? Like once you get the impulses to the downside, you don't really want to incorporate that price action because it's not part of the balanced price. The balanced price is within the range, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't extend this all the way to the right. So for me personally, right, I have the previous volume profile, but I also have the a more updated volume profile, right, pulled to more of the current price action. And this isn't even pulled all the way to current, but it is, as you kind of continued in this balanced range, I extended this all the way here. So from a very simple standpoint, two ranges that you can look at here, in my opinion, right, I would pull it over this area of balance, right, and you could stop that pull as soon as you impulse out of the range. And then you can also pull this to current price action, right? This is not wrong. And the answer to your question is I do look at both, right? And even on Bitcoin, if I pull up the local range that I was just looking at, right, you could look at these as two separate ranges, right? You can look at this, which is pretty much to the current price action, or you could pull it, I'll just pull it raw here. Raw is a gross word. But, right, you could, again, right, you could pull it here, right? You kind of have your low, your high, your low, and then you break down, right? So you can look at this as a previous volume profile. Very oftentimes these levels will get respected. You can see here, I'm not going to change the color, but you can see you hold the value area low, right? You go reject off the value area high, value area low, value area low, value area high. But you could also pull this to current price action as well. It will change your levels a little bit. This is pretty much straight sideways, so it doesn't move very much. But you can look at either one, right? There's no wrong way to pull the volume profile. And the reason for that is because all these levels are calculated based off volume. It is taking the volume traded within the specific area that you select, and it marks out the value area levels based on that volume. So you're never really going to get a wrong level. I could pull it all the way back here, right? And it's still, if you tap that value area low, you're going to get respect. If we hit this value area high, you're probably going to get respect. And it's because it's based off volume. So for me personally, just like the simplest answer here is I just like to mark out balanced areas on price. You can see here, right? You have a nice little range here, then you deviate, and then you kind of range back in there. So, you could pull this like this before the breakdown. That would be a clean little range. But then as you enter back into the range, well, now you're back in balance. So you could potentially start to incorporate that price action, right? It will, this doesn't really move that much, but it will slightly move your volume profile, right? So I would stop this range here because this is imbalance, right? I do not want to incorporate that inside that area of balance. I only want to mark out the fair value. And then once you get accepted back into that range, and the reason you do this, right, is because once you get accepted back into this range, right, chances are once you get above that low, you're going to rotate into the POC and then into the value area high and then potentially beyond. So simple answer. I pull it over ranges, right? It doesn't mean that you might say, well, can I mark it over this whole range? You absolutely can, right? Could pull it like this, right? Well, hey, there's a little bit of a bigger range. So it takes a little bit of nuance, right? Like I have preferences on where I pull them from, but just an easy answer there is I just pull them over ranging price action on any time frame, right? All the major ranges we've looked at, right? Well, you have your range up here. Why do I stop the range there? Well, very simply put, the balanced price ends there, right? You have big impulse to the downside. This is balance. This is imbalance. I don't want to incorporate these candles while I'm looking to mark out this area of balance. It doesn't mean incorporating those candles gives you invalid levels. It's just changes the balanced area, right? So hopefully that makes sense. If you watch the tutorial video, it'll probably make a little bit more sense. But for the most part, I just mark over ranging price action, right? There's a range. There's a range. There's a range, right? And then once you come back into that area of balance, you can then extend it to your current profile, right? And then I would stop this range right here. Why? Because you impulsed out of the range. This is not balance. This is imbalance. This is balance, right? So, and again, it doesn't mean that you can't do that, right? You could totally incorporate that, right? It doesn't even change the range that much. Usually it does. But that's why I mark it out like that. That's why sometimes I look at previous ranges. Sometimes I look at current ranges. And the simple answer to the question is I look at both personally. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. Shout out to Boy Ladil. I don't know if I said that right. Says, what is the value area? Is it a modifiable parameter? I think it's default 70 on TradingView. Yes, so the value area is just where 70% of the price action took place, right? So if I highlight this value area, 70% of the volume traded within this time, right? Within this slot of price action, 70% of the volume traded between these prices. So between the value area high and the value area lows where 70% of the volume took place, right, or traded. And the reason this is so nice is because when you deviate below that value area, this is where I say price is cheap. How do I know that? Well, it's typically trading up here. The fair value is up here. When it's below here, you can think of it as oversold. So this is where it's undervalued, oversold, where you would want to look for long positions. And if you can catch a long position down there, right, if you have the confirmations to take it, sometimes you just get the breakdown of the range, usually identifiable by money flow. But if you have a reason to look for the long position down here, well, you have a very, very simple target and route for where price will go next. This is why it's such a high probability trading strategy, right? So the idea here, let's say you caught a long down here, which we did. We actually took this trade in the premium Discord, caught that long position, and the roadmap for this price, or for this trade, was to see price. Actually, we were personally looking for all-time highs, which we obviously got. But the idea here is like, well, hey, if I can get the long position here, we can wiggle up towards that value area low. Well, great. Flip that value area low. I know there's a huge probability of coming into that POC and then rotating that volume and value area in full. Right, so you have a nice take profit one at the value area low, get to the POC, which is the next expected place for price to go. You could take another take profit, you could take another take profit, and then if you're looking to hold it for longer, you can potentially hold a portion of that trade to let that winner run. And hey, if that thing ran up to 200K, well, great, you're long from the local bottom. And if not, you know that you're taking profit at the POC and the value area high, moving your stop loss to break even, putting you in a guaranteed winning position. If you get stopped out of there, let's just say you held this position, you took profit. Let's say you took 3 TPs, right? Value area low, POC, value area high. high. Now you're holding a portion of this position with your stop loss at break even. Well, this is fine, right? Because if you hold it, you get greedy, right? You're protecting yourself because if it comes back down, boop, you get stopped out, but you get stopped out in profit, right? You already took that money off the table within the profile. So that's like a very, very simple way to look at trading, right? You already know that you're looking for a long and an undervalued price, and then once you get back into the fair value, you can expect that full rotation, giving you very, very, very clear take profit levels. And you can see, like, come on down to a lower time frame, look at any volume profile that I've shown on the channel. Right, more often than not, value area low, POC, value area high. You get a little push on the POC for a move to the value area, back to the value area high. And even if you don't get the full fill of the range, like you didn't get here, you reject the high, you go to the POC and you come back up. Well, that's fine, because if you were taking a short position here, right, your first take profit is always going to be the POC. And then the final take profit will be the value area low. So even here, you're taking profit, moving your stop loss to break even. Sure, you would have gotten stopped out, but you would have made money. Right, and then you could look for another short position, which would have eventually brought you back down to the value area low. And you might say, well, Frankie, you front ran the value area low. Well, back there, the range was different, right? The range was much tighter, right? So you could see below the low, back to the POC, back to the high, above the high, back to the POC. You didn't get the full rotation, but that's fine if you're taking profit. Back above the high, if you can catch a short position up here, you look to ride it back into the range. Once you can't get out of that range, you're looking for the POC, the value area low, vice versa. Even here, you got up to the POC a little higher, back down, but that would have just been like you would have just got TP1, right? So you would have got like full TP, TP1, full TP, TP1, full TP, full TP, full TP. TP1, right? Or actually, maybe not. Maybe this would have been a full TP, right? Because the value area moves. No, you would have gotten TP1 there, right? And then you could have looked for a short at the value area high, and you would have gotten all TPs smashed, right? So it's just very, very high probability. When we trade these volume profiles, price ranges 80% of the time. So not only are these high probability trades, deviate above the high, look for the rotation back to the low, hit the low, look to go back to the high, right? And you can see when you deviate, right, you do get a higher probability of a full rotation, right? You didn't get it here, but you got it here. You didn't get the deviation here, but you didn't get full TP either. You deviate here, you get full TP. You deviate here, you get full TP. You deviate here, you get full TP. You deviate here, you get full TP, right? So not only because price ranges 80% of the time, it gives you tons and tons and tons of trading opportunities. And when you trade like this, let's just say you went ahead and took a short up here, right? And you were looking for this to go to the value area low. And this wasn't it wasn't like the biggest drop down, but you could have been looking for your TP1 at the POC, TP2 at the value area high, and then you could hold this, right? If this thing runs down to 50K, right, you're at least holding a trade from the top, basically, right? Even though it's a partial position, right? So this is kind of how you want to let the singles and doubles, right? You want to shoot for the single, shoot for the double, shoot for the double, get a single, right? Shoot for a double, get a double. Shoot for a double, you get a single. Shoot for a double, you get a double. Shoot for a double, you get a double. Shoot for a double, you get a double. Shoot for a double, you can get a little bit of a grand slam, right? And you let those bigger trades hit you by surprise. You want to get predictable gains and predictable outcomes, right? And you know the rotation of the volume profile is very high probability. Even if you just get a TP1, you could, build up your account on these ranges. And then if it decides to dump from here, well, it's like, great, that's a huge winner. But you let those grand slams hit you by surprise. Anytime I've held a trade, for example, the long position I'm holding here from 107K, right? Like, let's say this winds up running into 150K. I'm not saying that's the highest probability, right? I'm long down here. Let's say this thing runs up, we get into the profile, we break out of that 786, and we go into 150K, right? Well, that trade is going to be absolutely beautiful, right? And it's going to be like, well, dang, Frankie, how did you know, right? Like, how did you long the exact bottom? And the true answer to that question, guys, is I am not taking this long position expecting 150K. Now, if we get through that volume profile and we fill that volume profile in full and then we break out, right, I probably have take profits. I have money locked in at the value area low, the POC, or the value area high, and I'm just letting a partial part of that position run. So it's not like I'm longing here and saying I'm going to 140K, but it's a very, very safe way, in my opinion, and through my experience, right, to, everybody just sees the end result. They're like, wow, like I longed the tippy bottom to 140K, right? Well, that's not really what I did, right? I'm actually, until money flow shapes up, I'm more anticipating something like this potentially, right? Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. But if I don't get the confirmations for the short, don't get the confirmations for the short, don't get the confirmations for the short, and we flip that 786, well, hey, there's no reason to close the long position and just let that thing run. But I was not longing here saying I'm going to ride that to 140K. And if it puts in the lower high and stops me out, right, well, my stop loss wouldn't be all the way back down here. It would probably be in profit. But I would have money locked in, stop loss in profit. If I get stopped out, I make money, right? When it comes to trading, guys, you are here to make money, right? You're not here to just gamble on, like, putting your whole account here and just hoping for 140K. Because if you do that, right, it seems like that's what I'm doing, but it's not, right? Because if you're just holding this on 100x leverage or whatever, hoping you're like, oh, my God, I'm a genius. I made a bunch of money, right? And then this thing puts in a lower high and a lower low, and you're not taking in profits. You don't know to look at these value area levels, right? You don't know where the weakness is coming in, right? You're just going to long here, and then you're going to lose it all, right? But actually using those volume profiles to take profit and understand the high probability route that price will go will help you actually make money over time in this market. Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, thank you, Frankie, for the daily updates and everything you do. Hey, shout out to Wolf of Crypto. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for saying that. I'm just up here doing what I love, guys, to be honest. Although I don't love this sideways price action, at least from a content perspective, right? It's not bad for trading, but it is definitely, absolutely horrible for content and trying to figure out how to talk for more than 5 minutes here on the live stream. Believe it or not, guys, it is sometimes a struggle. I know I talk a lot, but let's see. Yo, shout out to Erica, said Frankie Candle's the type of guy that eats the cob, not the corn. Shout out to Erica. Brian Varney said, I deviated from volume profile trading fib retracements. Thank you for bringing me back, Frankie. Hey, let's go. Shout out to Brian Varney, baby. Let's go. And if you combine the volume profiles with your Fibonacci retracements, even saucier. All right, let's see here. All time frames up to the 16-hour have red dots with money flow coming out. Expect 4 hour. Oh, except for the 4 hour is green with the VWAP curving up. Is Bitcoin having mental issues? Yeah, shout out to Lucia. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin's having a stroke right now. And we've been talking about how market cipher's a bit chopped up right now. This has nothing to do with, like, the performance of the indicator. It's just, like, in this choppy price action, like, I mean, is this 12-hour money flow coming up or is it coming down? It's in the red. It's in the green. It's in the red. It's in the green. It's in the red. It's in the green. I'm probably going to come back into the red. But is it just going to come back up into the green? It's very hard to say here. This is just very choppy and hard to read. And at that point, right, it's just like maybe you just don't put as much weight on that stuff. But I would say, right, like daily money flow coming out, not going to be impossible to see that 16-hour. Well, 16 hours already in the red. 12-hour come back into the red. And even that 2-day, guys, like trying to alleviate the noise, right? The low time frames like the 12-hour or the lower time frames like the 12-hour, even the 4-hour, right? Like they can get very choppy, but these high time frames take a lot longer to rotate as far as money flow goes. They're like a cruise ship. Like speedboats can just like turn, but a cruise ship has to like take very, very, very slow turns. And that's how you can get the higher time frames. But when you're trying to alleviate that noise or eliminate that noise, right, that 2-day money flow is clearly trending out, regardless of the chop on the 12-hour. In the red, in the green, in the red, in the green, in the red, right? That 2-day money flow is very smoothly trending into the red, right? Even the daily, a little bit smoother trending into the red, right? We have not gotten fakeouts. We came into the red, and we've been in the red ever since. And what happens, right? Lower highs, lower lows, right? So that's why I'm still open to the idea of lower highs and lower lows. I hope, right? Although I would prefer that daily bull div, right? Like, I'm holding the long position, so I would not mind. I'm very neutral here. I don't care if we come up or come down. Like, I'm getting what I want either way. If we come up, I'm making more money on the long. I could finally take some profit. If we come down, well, I'll just look to stack that long position or maybe even take some new longs. So, yeah. Bitcoin is definitely having a stroke right now. Shout out to Bitcoin. Pray for Bitcoin, guys. Let's see. What do I think about the inverse head and shoulders? Shout out to Erica. Listen. Is it there? I mean, I know a lot of people were talking about this yesterday. I mean, I do see what everybody's talking about, right? Left shoulder, head, maybe a right shoulder there. I mean, it's just not something I trade based off of. A lot of people point out head and shoulders or the trading patterns, but nobody points out the ones that don't play out. Trust me, they don't play out all the time. I promise you that. But, yeah, I mean, it's there. Doesn't really do much for me, though. My long position, and why is that, right? Well, I said this yesterday, right? Like, if you're looking to trade a head and shoulders, right, wherever your neckline is, this is kind of like a rough neckline. You would wait for the breakout, the retest, and the push to the upside. And you can even see here, right? If I mark this out, let me actually use the head and shoulders tool so you guys can actually see it, right? So you have your left shoulder, your head, and then you have, like, the right shoulder right here, right? So, like, here's your head and shoulders for the most part, right? And then, like, where's your neckline? Well, your neckline is going to be, like, right here, right? And then, this is how you would traditionally trade a pattern. Breakout, retest, take the long. Breakout, retest, back down, right? It's, and why don't it's not that you can't trade like that. You totally can. You would definitely want to incorporate other indicators, though, to get the highest probability outcomes. But when you look at this, right, I just don't, by the time the head and shoulders is formed, I'm already holding my long position from the low, right? Again, I just show the position one more time, right? Like my entry here is 107.7, right? So like I'm already in from the low, so like I just don't have to worry about, like by the time the head and shoulders forms, like I've already found the long. So, could you argue this is a riskier long to take? Because the head and shoulders isn't formed. It's just not something I pay attention to. It is there, right? And, I know a lot of people pay a lot of attention to this stuff. That's totally fine. If it works for you, it works for you. You have to do what works. Yeah, that's another thing I think people don't talk about in trading, right? I am never someone, we have the volume profiles, which are super high probability. It's that, I've tried everything in trading. I've tried breakout trading. I've tried pattern trading. I've tried absolutely everything. Moving averages. I've just found that the volume profiles, the Fibonacci retracements, and market cipher all together, all this stuff works for me, right? It might not work for everybody. And there's so many profitable strategies out there. You can profitably trade patterns. I don't think it's the best, but really what it's going to come down to is your risk management, right? As long as you're using good risk management, you're going to be able to make almost any legitimate strategy that you see out there, ICT, volume profiles, strategies, just Fibonacci's, moving averages. You're going to be able to make any of that profitable with the right risk management. And everybody wants to chase that new strategy. So I'm not really a big fan of obviously I shove my strategy down people's throats here because this is what's worked for me. But if you're out there and you're trading patterns and you're making money, keep doing that, right? Don't chase the next shiny object. Don't always be looking, always look to improve, but don't always just chase that new strategy if you have a bad week. You have to find out what works for you. Some people just trade. Some people don't look at confirmations. Does this mean that they're a bad trader? Well, if they're making money, they're not a bad trader. It doesn't matter if they're guessing, they're shaking a 8-ball, long or short, and they're trading based off that. If they're making money, they're making money. So you have to find what works for you. Some people just trade momentum, right? They see a trend moving, they try to jump in, and is that going to be profitable? I don't know if it's the best way to trade, but if you're using good risk management, you're not just holding your trades until they go into the red, then you're probably going to be able to do that. You have to find out what works for you. And I just think the volume profiles are very simple, and it kind of just gives you that rule, right? Like for me personally, on Bitcoin right now, why am I not interested in a long position until we get down here? It's because I know that if you come down to the value area low, it's a very high probability place that if you get the confirmations, you're going to get another rotation. And even if it's not a huge rotation, for example, like I said, I got stopped out of this position, but from this value area high to the POC, guys, I was up $1,500, right? It's like $1,500 in a day. Where else can you make that? And I trade multiple accounts too, but this is just the content account I was talking about or showing yesterday. Did I show it yesterday? I don't know. But I was showing in the Discord, you don't need these gigantic moves. All you need is the high probability move. And even if you take a TP1 here and get stopped out, well, guess what? You got stopped out in profit. So, it's just very nice to know that, I'm just sitting on my hands. Could I long? Could price shoot up from here? Sure. But that doesn't mean that I want to take that trade, right? I could even think it's probable that you're going to get a push up here. It still doesn't make for the best trade. So I just sit on my hands. Once I come into that high probability area, it's just I already know that this is where I want to look for longs. I already know that I'm not looking to trade the breakout. I'm not looking to trade the breakout. I'm not looking for longs up here. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for shorts. Where am I looking for longs? Right here. Right? That's why I'm long from 107.7, because this is where I look for the longs. Not up here. Not up here. It's down here. Right? So when I come down here, I just know it's this is where I want to look for longs anyway. It just makes the probability of your trade playing out that much better. So I just think it's very simple. But, maybe it confuses some people, and that's totally fine. If you want to trade patterns and you're doing that well, please, for the love of God, I would push you to keep doing that. Right? Don't overcomplicate things. So yeah, head and shoulders is there. Just doesn't mean much to me. Doesn't mean that's not important. I just don't really pay much attention to it. So shout out to Erica. Hopefully that helps you out. But it's definitely there for sure. Let's see. Sharon Nuggets. Shout out to Absolute Gold Advice. Shout out to JB. Yeah, Sharon Nuggets. Shout out to JB. Speaking of gold, maybe we'll take a look at gold in a minute. Shout out to Flatsmack. Said, fun fact, it's 100% legal to own a kangaroo in Wisconsin. I'm about to move out to Wisconsin. Is it legal to own goats out there too? Let me know. I don't think it's illegal to own goats anywhere. Guys, Tony D was at a wedding, and these people had goats roaming the, I want to say fairgrounds, roaming the outside at their wedding. They're just goats walking around chewing grass. And I told Tony, I said, 1,000,000% at my wedding, I will have goats walking around. I didn't know that was a thing you could do. Now that I do, I'm not having a wedding. Mrs. Candles can do whatever she wants with her wedding. It's up to her. She's, that's her thing. I'm behind her, whatever she wants. Only thing I ask is that there's goats roaming the grass while we're having cocktail hour. But anyway, speaking of gold, where's Golden? Shout out to Wolf of Crypto. Last I checked, I think he's on a private jet. I think he just flies around. I think he just likes staying up at high altitudes. He's always just kind of lurking in the skies. Let's see. Shout out to Keith said, what is your trade at the moment? Leverage and value. No need to show it if you don't want to. No, shout out to Keith. No problem. I actually already showed it, but I'll show it again. So it's about a $50,000 position. It is on 19x leverage, and I won't get into the whole thing. The leverage doesn't really matter, but it's about a $50,000 position. It is a partial position, right? Because in the beginning, I was expecting to come down and sweep the lows again to potentially build a bigger long position. So it's a smaller position for me, but that's okay, right? If it runs, then hey, I'm exposed to the trade. It's up about 1,800. I'm exposed to it. If it comes back down, I'll make it a bigger position. So yeah, there you go. 19x leverage. I think it's about $50,000 position, or maybe 58,000. I think. So there you go, up 64%. And you guys can see here, I only have $2,800 on the trade. I don't need $58,000 in my account to open up a $58,000 position. This is why leverage can be a very, very helpful thing. But be careful. If you do not know how to trade leverage, if you hear people say leverage trading is risky, leverage trading is gambling, ignore them. It can be gambling, but they just simply do not understand how trading works. If you want to understand how to trade leverage responsibly, and if you want to understand why leverage does not mean anything, go watch my leverage trading tutorial. Is Tony D in the chat? I think he might be in like an Uber or something right now. But Tony, if you're here, if you could share that video, drop it in the chat. If you guys want to understand how to actually trade using leverage without it being gambling, and you want to understand, you might be saying to yourself, well, how is it not gambling? You're using leverage, right? I've always heard that if you use leverage, you're going to go broke, right? It's not the case. It is just simply not the case. You can use it and go broke. If I put my whole account on here, right, this is a very small amount of my account. If I put my whole account on this trade on 100x leverage with no stop loss, sure, that is 100% gambling. But you don't have to trade it like that, right? You can use it responsibly. And as a matter of fact, using a leverage exchange can also manage your risk, right? You don't want to put all your money in one place. Let's say you have 100 grand or whatever it is, right? Everyone's in a different spot. If you have 100 grand, right? You don't want to put it all in one exchange. You don't even want to put that all in one like centralized big exchange like Coinbase or look at FTX, right? So what leverage allows me to do is not only are you managing risk on trades, but you're also managing risk. I don't have to hold a ton of my money on this exchange to open up big positions. I can use the leverage, but I know how to use it responsibly. And if you want to know that too, watch the I think it's on the channel in the beginner series. I think it's called The Only Leverage Trading Tutorial You'll Ever Need to See. Go watch that video and you'll understand in full. But there you go. That's the trade. Anyway, continuing on. Oh, Golden is here. Golden, are you at 37,000 feet? Let us know in the chat. Shout out to Golden. He's here, baby. He's here. I told you guys, he's always lurking. He's always looking down on the Mafia. Shout out to Golden. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Wick589 said, yeah, you're too poor to trade like Frankie does. Shout out to Wick. God, I hate that word poor. Shout out to Wick589. Depending on how much leverage you're using, you actually don't need that much money to open a $58,000 position. But please understand, guys, if I blew up one of my... Here's the other thing, too. When it comes to day trading, especially if you're learning, the last thing I would ever recommend to somebody is not that... Wick, I know you're not saying this, but the last thing I would ever recommend to you is putting your whole investment account into the trading account. When you learn how to trade, I promise you're going to lose money at first. I promise. It is not something you could just jump into, just like anything. If you want to learn how to be a basketball player, right, you can't just jump in there and be in the NBA, right? If you can, I don't think it's ever happened, right? But there's a long road to get there. It's the same thing with trading. So I would always recommend start off either demo trading on a free account. You can use Blowfin, Femex. We have affiliate links in the description down below. But it'll allow you to trade with no risk, right? You have to learn the skill of trading before you actually put up your own capital. And even when you put your own capital up, you want to put an amount of money that you're not willing to lose. If I blew up every trading account I have, I would not lose my house. I would not lose my cars. I would not lose any of my stuff, right? You have to be just financially responsible as well. Shout out to Wick589. Yo, you're funny, bro. Anyway, let's continue on. Yo, shout out to Wick said, oh no, I'm a poor. Shout out to Wick. You're not poor, bro. Poor is not a financial status. Poor is a mindset. If you're watching this live stream, it does not matter what your bank account says. You're not a poor person. Poor people have bad mindsets. I know it sounds so cringy, but trust me, guys, I've used to think that too, but it is so true. Poor is a mindset. It does not matter how much. I know you can have no money in your bank account and have a rich mindset, and I would consider you rich, right? Because it's only a matter of time before that mindset, your bank account catches up with that mindset. Shout out to Wick. Don't say that about yourself, Wick. You definitely don't have a poor mindset, brother. But anyway, Skizzle said Frankie's the type of guy to tell stories about his NBA career. I do not have an NBA career, for sure. That'd be wild. I just don't think I'm tall enough. I mean, I'm 6 foot. I'm not short, but Definitely not tall enough. Actually, no. I think there's people shorter than 6 foot in the NBA. They're definitely not as good enough for good enough at basketball to be in the NBA. I'm probably not good enough to be in a rec league, to be honest with you. But anyway, have no money in your bank account and go to the doctor. Shout out to Seth. All right, let's continue on here. Yo, shout out to Retro Mike. Said I demo trade with my paycheck. Yo, you guys are wild. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Said I miss big trades. As long as you're a winner, that's what matters. Yes, absolutely. You do not. Garrett Soloway said this when I had him on my show years ago, and I took this and I repeat this constantly. Right? He said singles and doubles will make you a millionaire. Going for shooting for grand slams and home runs will. I think I just had a stroke, guys. Singles and doubles will make you a millionaire. Going for home runs and grand slams will blow up your account every single time. And I could not agree more, right? And that's why the volume profiles are great. Single, 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 double, single, single, grand slam, right? But you're not looking at, I'm going to long here for the grand slam. You could think that, right? Like, this is a huge level of support. That's why I was looking to build this up as a bigger position. Funny enough, if we come up, it's actually a partial position. But you're not going for the home run, right? You're just looking for the single, and then if that single or double turns into a grand slam, you're holding a portion of that with money locked in and your stop loss at break even. Guaranteed winning trade. If it goes up, grand slam. If it comes down, it's a single or a double. The point of it is to lock in money over time. Absolutely. 100% agree with you. Okay, so let's jump into some of the altcoins, guys. We all rich in the Mafia. Absolutely. Shout out to Erica. If you're watching this live stream, you are rich. And if you don't have a ton of money in your bank account, you have a rich mindset, and your bank account's just lagging behind. It'll catch up. I promise you that. Shout out to Perry. Said, I love how you're trading, Frankie. I learned a lot from you. I'm coming from SMC scamming content. Yeah, shout out to Perry. You ain't going to find any of that here. People always be like, do you ever lose trades? Absolutely. I get stopped out of this position right here, right? I lose trades too. Anyone telling you they win all their trades is lying to you or trying to sell you something. And I have paid stuff. I have a paid Discord. I will never shove it down your throat. I like transparency. I'm here to help people, right? And that is the truth of it. All right, so let's continue on. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Like I said, guys, macro, there's not really much to update on the macro for really anything, right? Like, look at this price action, guys. Wait, what are these daily candles? Like, what is this? Right? Oh, guys, we're at 4,300. Oh, guys, we're at 4,272. Oh, guys, we're at 4,300. Oh, 4,272. Like, totally miserable price action here. This is like, even this, like, what are these? These are like a 2% move. I guess it's Ethereum, so you get a little bit extra percentage. But yeah, guys, I mean, we're in the range. Next key level support is the POC, $4,085. Value area low monthly MPOC is sitting at 39.35 down to about 38.70. It's not until we lose this range where I'll be looking down for the bigger move, which would very likely bring us down, in my opinion, to the value area high / psychological $3,600 level, right? 3,600 down to 3,530. This is a huge level of support. We're still really far away. Until then, we're just inside the range. Looking at this volume profile, we're back below the high. POC could be next, right? Doesn't mean you can't break out, right? But for me personally, I wouldn't just look to long here randomly. Doesn't mean it can't come up. It just means I would rather wait for, our next key levels, right? So POC, honorable mention, your macro 786 is here. I don't want to confuse people with that. I'm going to take it off the chart, right? Value area high, 45.34. POC, 4,084. Value area low, 39.31 with the monthly MPOC at 38.75. These are the biggest levels. Until you break down out of here, I would not look for a bigger move down. Until you break out of here, as a matter of fact, if we broke back up here, I would probably be looking for shorts, right, if I had the confirmations. But it's not until you break and hold above this level, right, with money flow coming up or something, that you can look for the bigger break to the upside. Overall, I'm still bullish long-term on Ethereum. Weekly money flow is still in the green, right? We covered this yesterday. I don't want to be super repetitive. Long-term, though, even if we had to get the correction back down to 3,500, right, it could still put in the higher low and the higher high. So, yeah, that's it. That's about all I got on Ethereum. But Solana, guys, Solana. What did we look at yesterday, baby? We were looking, last week we were looking at the opportunity to hold our golden pocket retracement, right? Actually, what was it? That's Friday, right? Looking to hold that golden pocket retracement. As long as you hold above this level, the idea of coming up and breaking structure to the upside was very likely. We got that. The target to the POC was open. And yesterday, we were looking for a potential break of structure right here. What do we get? Little push into the POC and a break of structure to the upside. Not too shabby. Can't hate on that. So we wound up seeing that. At this point, guys, just understand we do have macro resistance here. What is the macro resistance? Well, very simply put, it is your golden pocket from the high here at 295 all the way to the low in April. We finally tapped into that golden pocket. This is kind of a big resistance level. I would say, for me personally, could you get resistance here? Yes. We said that when we got our first tap of the POC. Definitely a place you can get resistance. But we're inside the volume profile. As long as you remain in this range, value area low, POC is next. As long as you don't break below that value area low, the doorway to the POC is open. You get the break of structure to the upside. You got some resistance here, right? So this could give us a little bit of a fight. Once you break above the golden pocket, I'm looking up towards about, let me pull it up here, 231, right? So break above the POC, hold it as support. Hopefully you can break through the golden pocket. 231 at the monthly horizontal. And then the value area high sits all the way up here at 248. All right, so we'll see if we can get that fulfill the volume profile. Right now we're just grinding up as we expected. We could take that will it break level off because we were looking at that yesterday. Newsflash, it did indeed break. It did indeed break. So I would just be careful of some resistance here. Taking a look at the 4 hour. You pushed up in here. Actually, money flow crossing into the green, right? So I could anticipate continuations up. Doesn't mean you can't pull back, but higher lows and higher highs is the more likely situation as long as that 4 hour money flow continues to the upside. You did get a little 4 hour bear div here into your key level of resistance. Higher highs, lower highs. You got a little pullback, right? So choppiness on here is not impossible. And the POC is the area where the most volume was transacted. This is the level that acts as a magnet. So I actually wouldn't even really be surprised if you kind of cling to this a little bit. All right, but once you hold it, next big targets, 231 all the way up to about 248. Do we have any other horizontals up there? 238 at the daily, right? So between 231 and 238 are going to be the next big targets. Top of the golden pocket sits at 225, but I would say the next big targets are 231 and 238. Get above that. Overall, you're just looking for this to continue your ride. They can give you resistance, but you're looking to continue that ride through the profile to fill that range in full. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated here, but nice to see that break of the structure to the upside, holding that local golden pocket. Very, very nice. It's not until we lose the value area low at 192. That's the biggest macro level of support right now. Lose this, I'm looking down towards about 175. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at on Solana. Yeah, daily bear div printing as well. So be aware of that. Into resistance. Higher lows or higher highs, lower highs. Bearish divergence. Money flow comes out on the daily. 12-hour money flow also generally trending down here. 8-hour, and then the rest of it's just all choppy. If you're going to get a bigger rejection here, we can look for this. We have an 8-hour red dot, guys. What is the next thing I'm going to look for? I know someone's going to say it in the chat. We got an 8-hour red dot. We're going to creep on down to that 30. Okay, so we don't have the... I was looking for the 30-minute money flow crossing over into the red. It's already happened, so you don't really have the market cipher B116th bearish setup. But it is in the red with an 8-hour red dot coming in. Typically with the 116 strategies on market cipher, you want the red dot to be printing, and then you want the money flow to cross over into the red, right? You want those to happen at the same time. Here, you've already gotten the breakdown of the 30-minute money flow, so it's not perfectly lined up. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Solana. Still just generally, guys. I know it seems exciting that you came up and popped up here, but like still, you're just essentially going sideways. Super brutal, baby. Shout out to Golden. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. He said, smash that like button. It's free for you to do, and it helps the channel out a lot. Golden. Shout out to Golden, guys. Genuinely, please do not super chat. Like, if you don't want to super chat, please don't super chat. Save your money. If you do anything, just smash that like button. It's free, and it really does. It is like the biggest thing that helps promote the channel. It's better than anything. Pretty sure it's better than even subscribers. I think the likes really do push you out there. So, Jenny, if you appreciate the free content, the free daily TA, smash that like button. Shout out to JR. Said, Wick, Wick, do we have to ban this guy, or do you guys like are you guys pineapple friendly? We're pineapple friendly. I mean, heck, we'll even mess around with an upside down pineapple, maybe. Some of you guys. I don't know. Shout out to Golden. Smash that like button. I appreciate you, Golden. Hopefully you're I didn't see if you said you were in a plane, but I'm just gonna assume you're either in a plane or behind the wheel of a GT3 RS. And I'm not going to lie. That's probably a pretty high probability bet. CandleMafia's John Cena said BTC likes playing reindeer games. Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. But yeah, let's take a look at Cardano real quick, guys. I updated this chart as well, so let me go ahead and pull some of this up. So yeah, I mean, high time frame, you know, we're sitting here, right? Like we're just below our volume profile. Doorway to higher prices sits at 89 cents. This is the big level to get above and hold, right? Once you crack this level with gusto, the POC is next, right? We've seen that many a times. Once you break down out of it, it's typically giving you a big drop down, right? You get back in, right back to the POC. You break down, another drop, resistance, resistance, resistance. The goal here for Cardano from a very simple standpoint is to get above this value area low at 89 cents. Almost 90 cents, right? We're already getting we already just got another tap at this level, and we're already seeing the resistance. But, you know, for the altcoins, guys, I really do think it's a waiting game. 3-day, green dot is printing. Also have your 3-day money flow trying to crack back into the green here. And the reason I don't hate this fake out into the red is because we've spent a decent amount of time here in the red, right? We've had 102 days in the red. You got a little fake out into the green, but we might, if we can get that green dot with the money flow crossover, I would also say that this 3-day looks like you could print a bearish divergence, right? And what does that mean? You might think that's bearish, but when you're front running a signal like this, it would call for a break of structure to the upside. So I guess we could potentially put a will it break level here. I think we're like 10 for 10 on these will it break levels. But not that it means that you should trade it. Not financial advice. But green dot, potential bear div, right? That makes me think, well, hey, if we're going to get that bearish divergence, maybe we get the break of structure to the upside. So we used this a couple days ago to predict a new high on Bitcoin on the 4-hour, and it played out perfectly. We use this a lot, right? It's the same thing I was looking at for the daily bullish divergence if we sweep 107K again, right? It's just like these momentum waves just look like, well, hey, this is rolling over, right? If that red dot prints and we get another dump, might be able to get that bull div, which would call for a break of structure of the downside. Because if you're going to put that bull div in, you need the lower low. So just something to look at. It's not going to be a 100% hit rate on that, but, you know, we're tapping against key resistance. I mean, hey, guys, we could potentially get another correction to the downside before we have to break through here. But just be aware, 90 cents is the level to break and hold. And then that opens up the door to the POC, which sits right here at about 121, $1.21, right? So stay above here. That's the doorway to the POC. And then we could see if we could finally get the bigger move up through the profile. So, yeah, that's what I would look at on Cardano. I don't hate that 3-day money flow in the green dot printing. 2-day green dot printing as well, but your money flow's in the red. Money flow's chopped up here, guys. I said it 40 times. I'll say it again. Money flow is chopped here. Yeah, your 2-day in the red. You got your 3-day coming into the green. Your 4 days coming into the green. With the green dot incoming, yeah, I just wouldn't be surprised if we can get another pop up here in the next maybe week or so. I just don't know if that's going to be alt season run. Everyone's waiting for what is the signal that's going to tell me that all my altcoins do this? There is no there's no one signal on the chart, but we do have all the macro stuff popping up. We have the Bitcoin dominance. I'll just do a quick check in here. Bitcoin dominance in the same spot, looking weak on the higher time frames. 3-day money flow is finally looking to cross over into the red. Any turbulence on Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, as of right now, is going to be looked at as lackluster retracements for lower highs and lower lows. I don't even know if you have to get a big push up like that, but if you did, it would still remain the same. Money flow indicates the continuation of the longer-term trend. So ebbs and flows, lackluster retracements, lower highs and lower lows. And then eventually, we have the rate cuts coming in. We have the RTY breaking out. You know, I just still think, right, if we're going to get an alt season, we're building up in the environment where we typically see them happen. Doesn't make it guaranteed, right? But it does make it, will history repeat? It oftentimes rhymes, right? What is it? September 2024, I looked it up. We had rate cuts, right? And it's like, I think it was September 18th. What happened, right? We got a little push up, and then it's like, oh my God, we're dumping, it's going to zero, right? But eventually you get the price to push up. So we're just hoping to see those alts run. There's so many things pointing towards that. The bullish Ethereum chart, the Bitcoin dominance, the rate cuts coming in, the RTY breakout, some of the exchange tokens starting to go, Solana showing some decent strength right now. This is all stuff that you want to see. Let's see. Shout out to Pennywise in the chat. Everybody's favorite friendly clown, or at least we think he's friendly. Shout out to Pennywise. JR says, you down POC? Yeah, you know me. I guess that's a song. Shout out to JR. Let's go. Sing it, JR. Sing it. Frankie, the anchored VWAP from the top at 124K and the low of 107K are converging. Does that tell us anything about the direction, or is it just indecisiveness in the market? Shout out to Daniel. Great question. So I'll just pull these real quick. Boom. I wouldn't say, the way I look at these, right, would just be like, this is key support, this is key resistance. Support, resistance. I don't really look at the converging anchored VWAPs as like indicating really anything. I mean, if this continues up, right, and this continues down and we just kind of coil up in here, obviously a big move up or down could happen. I don't really put a direction on it based off the anchored VWAPs. I would just look at them both as important. This one's very important to hold to the downside, and then this one is important to break to the upside. You don't want to lose this anchored. If we lose this anchored VWAP, I'm looking down to that value area low that we just talked about, right? Sitting at 109.9. If we break above the 113.4, 118.3 anchored VWAP, that's where we can look up towards 114.5 to 115.5. So just very important levels. I don't really have, when they converge like that, it's not something that I'm like looking at like, oh my God, if they cross, it's super bearish, or if they cross, it's super bullish, or anything like that. All right. Shout out to Wix. Wix. Who is this? Wix wife's boyfriend, Nettie Rec. Shout out to you. Says, I've got a pen. I've got an apple. I've got a pineapple pen. This is how we know price is going sideways, guys. You guys are crazy. All right, let's continue on here. Shout out to French Toaster in the chat. We got Kelefant in the chat. What is going on, Kelefant? But yeah, we took a look at Ethereum, took a look at Solana, we took a look at Cardano. We'll take a quick look at XRP here. I updated this chart as well. I was sitting on the charts, guys. My eyes feel like they're bleeding. I was updating these charts until I was like, couldn't breathe today. So, anchored VWAP from the low here in April. Massive, massive level that we want to hold. If we lose this anchored VWAP for the most part, I will be looking for a move down to 250 to 260. We've talked about that 250 to 260 level. That's really a big level, and you might be saying, like, what is there? I just don't have the levels on the chart right now. But, yeah, I mean, you really don't want to come. I mean, if we come back down here, that's fine. I would love to bounce off here. Anchored VWAP, this is huge, right? And when you look at this on Bitcoin, right, just to show you, like, the importance of these macro anchored VWAPs, also check out the tutorial video. It's not me trying to shill my YouTube videos. That is me just trying to help you guys understand exactly what you want to look for. When you take a look at this anchored VWAP from the low here in April, you have the low, right? This is a huge level to hold to continue that macro uptrend. This is why, part of the reason why 107K is so important, right? If we want to hold this macro uptrend for a higher low and a higher high, this anchored VWAP is very important to hold. And you can see how well they hold up, or how important they can be, right? You bounce here, new all-time highs. You bounce here, well, hey, as long as we hold it, new all-time highs could still be in the cards. It's the same thing on XRP, right? I would say, whoops, right? You get a little bounce, you fake it out. Once you get above it, massive rip to the upside. So this is just generally going to be an important level to hold, in my opinion. Massive anchored VWAP. This is currently coming in confluence with the top of the golden pocket at 267. This whole zone, right? Value area high, golden pocket, anchored VWAP. Very, very strong level, sitting between 272 and 262. If we lose this, I will be looking down towards 250 to 260. Right, or 260 to 250. We have the golden pocket. I believe there is something else down here. Daily MPOC right here, right? 260 to 250. If we lose that level, right, and you can just see how cleanly we're holding that value area high. Previous range. Breakout, you want to hold on top of this range. It's actually very similar to Bitcoin, right, on a higher time frame. If I pull up the macro support on Bitcoin, you can see, right, massive big range, breakout, you want to hold on top of this. It's the same thing on XRP. You break out, you want to hold on top of this. And it has given us support. But if it breaks, I'm going to be looking at 250 to 260. Now, locally, if we pull up the local chart for the day traders, got rejection on that 786 anchored VWAP. We talked about this level yesterday. I actually moved this up. You have you're above your value area low, but you have the golden pocket. 786 anchor VWAP. You're getting a little resistance there. Your goal here locally for XRP is to hold inside this value area. All right, if you could hold it, get above that 786. Once you break above that 786 / anchor VWAP at 302, that's where I'm looking up between 313 all the way up to about 318. This is an important level, right? Actually, I'm going to have to drag this golden pocket down. So call it 311 to 319, right? Or almost 320. So the level to break here, and I'll keep this purple box on the chart because it is resistance and it is resistancing. But once you flip that 786 anchored VWAP, that's where I'll be looking up here between 311 and 319. And then, if we want to come up to the value area high, you got to get above this 786. But if you just want to view this as a simple volume profile, guys, I'll just kind of turn some of this stuff off. It's important to keep in mind, especially with the Fibonacci retracements, it's important to keep in mind, the key Fibonacci retracements because they are areas where you could put in a lower high and a lower low. But, even if I hide this, I'll even hide this fib, right? Locally, hey, if you stay inside this volume profile, doorway to the POC is open. Flip that POC, doorway to the value area high is open. And then hopefully we can just get going there, right? But you just have to be aware. There's a lot of resistance up here. So you got a lot of work to do. And if we take a look at the daily here, daily money flows in the red. So you got to be careful. I mean, the lower high could come in here, right? For a lower low, which would make us target that 250 to 260 level. If we get above the 786, you still have an opportunity for a lower high and a lower low here. It's not until you get above that 786 that I would say there's a probability of coming up and breaking above that value area high. But we'll keep an eye on this locally. I would probably just pay attention to these higher time frames on XRP. Got to hold above this level. Break below it. I mean, even at that point, right, you break below that golden pocket, it's like now you're back into the range. POC is going to be next. If you don't hold that 786, if you lose this 786 at 240, I would say this is pretty bearish, right? Because at that point, it's like value area low is the target at 208. So we'll keep you updated. I'll keep you updated on the local chart here as price action develops. But for the most part, let's stay above this blue box, sitting between 272 to 262. As long as we stay above that, we don't have to look at any of those lower levels. And you can see, bounce, very clean. All right, let's see. Shout out to Dave Digital in the chat. What is going on? DD, drop those DDs in the chat if you got a Frankie Candles membership and you love Dave Digital as much as we do. He says, took a long to where I want to take a short. Shout out to Dave Digital. That is how you do it, brother. Now close that long and flip short. I mean, close that long and flip short. Kind of like what we did here on Bitcoin. Took short from the fake out of the all-time high, wrote it down to key support, closed it, flipped long. And, I mean, as of right now, long's playing out okay. I mean, it's not like the craziest trade, but not too sure. Oh, no. Look at that, guys. I just clicked this. Last time I did that, I accidentally set a TP, and it took me out of my position. Okay. Nothing popped up. Nobody says a take profit order there, right? There is no take profit order there. All right. If I'm not in this position tomorrow, you guys were proof that there's no TP here. All right, let's see here. What are we running? 7 o'clock. Okay, so we took a look at XRP. We took a look at Solana. If you guys want to drop some requests in the chat, please, public service announcement, please do not super chat your altcoins. It does not guarantee that we look at your alt. Sometimes people super chat like some $100,000 meme coin, $100,000 market cap meme coin. It's just not fair to everybody else watching the stream to look at a coin that only one person wants to see. So please do not super chat them. Please save your money. Drop them in the free chat. I'll take some of them off free chat. And we'll start with AVAX. Shout out to Clifton. AVAX or AVOX, as some of your grandmother might call it. All right, so let's see here. Okay, yeah, so AVAX, this is where we kind of have like mad POCs, right? There's really only one POC sitting here, and we're above it. You can see, break the value area low, get above the POC. Next stop is, usually when you break above the value area low, next stop is the POC. You kind of have multiple POCs here. All the point of control is the highest volume node within the profile, which is technically here. But you have another massive high volume node here and another massive high volume node here, right? So you kind of have you could think of this as like 3 POCs. This is like a W-shaped profile. So the thought process there and what we've been looking at on AVAX thus far is break above the low. Obviously, POC is next. You can even see that you had a little reaction off that point of control. Right? Flip the value area low, POC is next, right? And even that is an 8% move, high probability move. That's all you need, right? Even if you took the long here and closed it here, right? It's a great trade. Very high probability. Once you get above this POC, it's like, well, hey, where's price going to go next? Well, there's no POC above you, but you do have the high volume node, which is kind of like another POC. And what happens? Price gravitates right up. Boop. And reject it, right? And we got back above the POC. We went back down to bounce off. This is a high volume node. I don't want people to get confused. This is not the POC. It's just a high volume node. Really, the POC technically is down here. But again, it's just very, very similar, right? POC, super high volume node, almost as high as the POC, super high volume node, even closer to the as high as the POC. Right, so these are just all magnets, right? POC is a magnet, high volume node's a magnet, high volume node's a magnet, right? And you can see magnet to the POC, magnet to the high volume node, and once you lose the high volume node, you get magnetized back to the POC, back to the high volume node. If you could flip this high volume node, which by the way does sit at 2611, kind of like a low volume gap here. So what can we say about that? Well, if you get above this high volume node and break into this low volume gap, just like these high volume nodes like to have price stick to them, right? These low volume gaps oftentimes give you quick moves. Fast move up, fast move down, fast move up, fast move down, fast move down. Even here, you almost fill that gap in full. Not a lot of interest here, which means price is very likely to move fast through it. So break above this gap at about 2774, get accepted inside here, you might be able to see that quick move up where I would pretty much target the next high volume node, which will also act as a magnet. So break above 2770, hold inside that gap, may be a fast move, right? Just like it was here, just like it was here. Could be a fast move up and with the target of the high volume node at 3593. And then once you get above there, well, hey, you're almost already filled that range in full. And you can just see the low, POC, high volume node, rejection, break into the node, break into the gap, fill to the high volume node, break above the high volume node, value area high. Same thing on the way down. High volume node, back up, back down, back up, back down, break into the gap, fast move down to the high volume node, lose the high volume node, back to the POC, back to the low, deviation, back in, back to the POC and the high volume node, back to the deviation below, back to the POC, back to the high volume node. So I would just expect it to play out very similar. If you get above that level, I would expect, I would expect a pretty fast move up towards that high volume node. You got to get accepted into the gap though. You can, like here, you can see we tapped it, rejected. So you got to get in there to see the push up. And that sits at about 35.92. Flip that, you're just looking to go to the value area high. So I would say this is looking like a pretty nice journey through the profile. Let's just hope that we can continue it, get into that gap, and then push up to the high. And would money flow support this? Well, guys, unfortunately, not really, right? Like daily money flow is coming out. 2-day money flow is flat. Now, 3-day money flow does not look bad. Yeah, I don't hate this 3-day money flow. It doesn't mean it has to go instant up, but this could help you with the trend to the upside. Even if you have to correct back to the POC and the value area low, eventually, as long as we hold that value area low at about 1945, you can see that fulfill the range. Once you lose that value area low, that's much more bearish in my opinion. Is there any confluence here on a fib? Yeah. Once you lose this the value area low would be the first sign of the weakness, and then once you lose that 1732.786, I'm looking for a much bigger drop down. But looks pretty healthy here, to be honest. You're just healthily within your range. Even if you dump down here, nothing really to worry about as long as you can hold that value area low. 1945, big key level. All right, let's see. Can we check Doge? Yeah, we could take a look at Doge. If I can find it, take a sip of the black coffee. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. Mrs. Candles said she was going to bring me Aztec and Cactus Moss Water, and I think she just ditched me. Sad. I'm deflating her tonight. All right, let's see here. Oh, hold up. Hang on. We got some super chats here, guys. Hold up. Yo, shout out to Jimmy James. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Says, render if you can, but if not, I get it. Here's to my appreciation. Yo, shout out to Jimmy James, bro. I appreciate you so much, bro. $50 super chat. Thank you, bro. And another one said, had some technical errors. Wanted to get 100 total for the Frankie Candles team. Yo, shout out to Jimmy James, bro. I appreciate you. I will look at render. I was already planning on looking at render. I'll say that. Shout out to Jimmy James. Please don't super chat your altcoins, but shout out to Jimmy. Thank you for being reasonable about it. I appreciate you. So I will take a look at it. Thank you for your fair-mindedness, and thank you for the kind words, bro. I appreciate you so much. And we will take a look at render. Oh, it sounds contradictive. The amount of your super chat has nothing to do with if we look at it, but we appreciate you, Jimmy James. Thank you. But yeah, we'll take a look at render for you, bro. No problemo. Let's see. Floki is breaking out. There she is. Nice hands, Bay. Shout out to Wick's wife's boyfriend, Nettie Wreck. Anyway. All right, let's take a look at Dogecoin here. So, yeah, we still have the will it break level here. We're still holding the golden pocket, right? Low, low, high, higher, low. Doorway to break that structure up here is still open, right? And we're above the value area low. I'm pretty well above the value area low, which still keeps the doorway to the POC open. Kind of similar to Solana. So we'll keep this up here. Not broken yet, but I would say, until you wind up losing this value area low, right, the doorway to that POC is open. Might just kind of chop sideways continuously here, but we're above the anchored VWAP from the local low here, or not local, but the low from June. So, yeah, I mean, if we could stay above this, I would say look at that POC at about 26 cents, flip the POC, look for the breaker structure to the upside. And to be honest, the next big key level of resistance is going to be sitting up here on the macro Golden Pocket 786 value area high and the weekly MPOC between 34 and 41 cents. So, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at. There's really nothing changed here on Dogecoin. We looked at this yesterday. Daily money flow, a little bit sus. It's coming out just a little bit here. Yeah, 2-day money flow coming out as well. So, yeah, it's just like I'm kind of neutral, to be honest. Even on Bitcoin, like medium term, I'm neutral whether you're going to get that drop down. 3-day looks very nice. Money flow coming up. Green dot printing. Also have an opportunity to put in a higher high here if you get that bearish divergence to break structure to the upside on the 3-day, right? So, yeah, I'm just going to focus on the key levels here because, to be honest, the money flow is quite choppy. Bear with me here for a second, guys. There we go. See that a little better now. So, yeah, 3-day green dot printing, 2-day green dot confirmed. Like, 2-day money flow is coming out very clearly. 3-day money flow is it looks very healthy. What's the 4-day look like? 4 days still in the red. 5-day just crossed into the red recently. 6-day, yeah, this is just money flow completely chopped. What's the weekly look like? Yeah, weekly chop too. So, yeah, I would say biggest levels here, 26 cents POC. As long as you remain above the value area low for the most part, I think it's doorways open. If you stay above this anchored VWAP, I would say it's a likely target. Flip the POC, look for the breaker structure to the upside, and then the next big level of resistance is sitting up here between 34 and 41 cents. And just remember the magnetic nature of the volume profile. If this was our acceptance into the range, POC is next. We've already done that. Check it off the list. You can bing-bong around here a little bit, right? Sometimes it's a confusing, messy journey, but eventually, hopefully, we can get that fulfilled range. And hopefully it's not that messy or confusing, but it's definitely possible. But, yeah, these are the biggest levels. Not until you lose that value area low. Even if you come back down to the value area low. You have an MPOC, the value area low, and a weekly MPOC. So you actually still have a really nice confluence down there. So unless you lose 16.5, 17 cents, I wouldn't expect that much of a big move to the downside. If you lose that level, weekly MPOC at 12 cents is probably next. But, you're healthily within this profile. So there's Doge. Just take a quick look at render. Yo, shout out to Golden, baby. Said if we get 420 likes, I'll drop 50 memberships. Yo, Golden's a menace, baby. Shout out to Golden, bro. Smash it up. Let's get 550 and drop those golden emojis if you have a membership. Let's go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Ahmed. Said, can you take a look at ETH? We actually already took a look at ETH. If you scrub back to the beginning of the stream, it was the first alt that we looked at after Bitcoin. We took a look at Solana and Ethereum first. So if you scrub back a little bit, you get the full look at ETH. Solana going beast mode. Yeah, shout out to Crypto Knight, breaking that structure to the upside. Are we talking about right now? Is it pumping? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. So if you scrub back, you'll see my full thoughts on Solana. Nice to see that crack of structure, though. Let's take a look at render real quick. Renner. Actually, I think I have a render. Do I have render on here? There it is. I did not update render yet. Not that any of these levels will be significantly invalidated. Yeah, this golden pocket's still holding, guys. I'm not going to lie, right? Like, when we talk about these golden pockets, right, typically, if you're going to put in the higher low and the higher high, I like to see it on that first tap. This golden pocket has now been tapped once, pretty much twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's still holding, right? And so, not possible that they hold up. I just don't usually expect it. I mean, it's not over till, we get the higher high, to be honest, right? This could come up, back down, and then eventually we don't hold it. It's just the more times you knock on the door, the more likely it is to open. And we have now tapped this many a times. But technically, you're still holding the golden pocket, so the idea of the higher low and the higher high is technically not invalidated. But the biggest level of resistance is going to be sitting here at $4.27 value area low. It is your macro value area low with the potential of a final target if you can get and hold above there, just like long-term, 120% pump to the upside, about 939. Could be something to look at. Now, you also have, major, rough roads ahead, I would say. Nah, I don't want to say rough roads ahead, but you definitely have resistance to get through. You have your value area low, and then, on that POC is also your golden pocket 786 retracement. So get above here. I would say that opens your doorway to come into the POC golden pocket. This does sit between 652 and 771. But you got to get in there, right? I would say locally here, this is the please mommy hold me level, guys. Very similar to what we looked at on XCN. Real quick, let me just look at XCN real quick. How's that thing doing? Oh, man. Oh, God. Okay, we got to take a look at XCN in a minute. But if we lose that golden pocket, very simply put, we got the 786 of that fib pull. We also have the macro 786. Do we have any? What is the? This might just be like a sloppily drawn box. Oh, no. Is it an MPOC? Yeah, it's a weekly MPOC. So if we come back down, hopefully, you can put in the higher high for the breaking structure to the upside. Again, I don't love that this golden pocket was tapped so much. If you lose this golden pocket, I'm looking down here between 317 and 296. To be honest, guys, you do not want to lose that 786. If you lose this 786, you're below the macro 786. You're losing the local 786. Last-ditch effort at 296 at the weekly MPOC. If you lose this level, I'm looking to break 250. So, really, if you continue down, I would prefer to bounce like that. If you lose this, yikes, right? Huge level. Important, contextually, a very important level of support at 296, 317. Lose that, you're looking for a drop below 250. Or I am personally looking for a drop below 250. At least a drop below 260. Right, below this low, right? Because if you're looking for a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, or a higher low and a higher high off your 786, once you lose that, well, that invalidates the idea of the higher low, and you're probably going to crack structure at the downside. So that's what I'd be looking at on render. Those are the key levels. If you want that macro range, my friend, shout out to Jimmy James. Value area low, 427. POC, 760. Value area high, 933. Weekly MPOC at 593. And then the mommy hold me level, that weekly MPOC at 296. Lose 296, I'm looking for a bigger drop down. Maybe to come sweep out some of this liquidity. Maybe that's something you see, right? You get one more drop into the value area high, sitting at 242. Sweep that liquidity, and then maybe we finally go. I would prefer not to see that, though. I want to stay above these levels. That would be bearish if we lost this zone. So there you go. Shout out to Jimmy. Thank you for the super chats, bro. And again, don't super chat your altcoins, please, guys. But I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the kind words, and hopefully this helps you out. Take a look at Market Cipher real quick as well. 16-hour money flow. It's probably just going to be choppy like everything else. Yeah, 3-day money flow looks great. Like, from a binary perspective, momentum coming up, money flow coming up, fresh green dot. This looks good for another pop-up. But then you look at the 2-day, and it's like, yikes, money flow is coming out. This would make you think lower highs and lower lows. Like, super choppy on money flow here, guys, which is why I've been pretty neutral and why price action has been so choppy. So yeah, not really a ton to look at on Market Cipher, to be honest, right now. Yeah, you have your, weekly green dot printing as well. Yeah, Market Cipher is not helping too much right now. But those are the key levels I would look at. Just do not want to lose 294. Let's see. AVAX, shout out to Gen Z. We took a look at AVAX, didn't we? Or did I just bring it up and then stop talking about it? Oh, no, we talked to, shout out to Gen Z. If you scrub back just a little bit, full analysis on AVAX. Shout out to Gen Z. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. Let me take a look at XCN real quick. Because XCN is something we have been looking at. Oh, okay. Now, it looked a lot worse on that chart. But yikes. Yeah, we're still below our key level of support here, guys. Man, if you can't reclaim this level, guys, I don't know what to say. It's not looking very good. I don't want to spread fear. I'm not telling you to sell your bags. I'm not telling you to short it to zero or anything like that. I'm not a financial advisor, but losing this level was critical. If we cook here, I mean, yikes, 0.008719. Only reason I brought this up was because I thought we had dropped way lower here. But just be aware. If you want this thing to go back up, you have to reclaim this level. I would be very bearish on this until we flip that level. So there you go. Just quick little update there. But really kind of sitting in the same place we were yesterday. Let's take a look. Somebody asked for WLD. Let's take a look at it. Ooh, she's popping. All right. Man, I don't have a chart on this, so I'm going to go super, super basic. Try to get the most price history here. That's probably all we're going to get. All right. Oh, we already have a look at that. We already have a chart. And, well, hey. I mean, I'm actually going to hide this real quick, just to give you guys the context. Here's your fair value. Here's your deviation below that fair value. This is looked at as oversold or cheap. This is where you want to build longs or maybe even pick up spot bags in this case, looking at the daily. Then, you know, once you get above that value area low, what does that do? It opens the doorway to what? The POC. I don't even remember the last time we looked at this. I have to assume it was quite a while ago because I don't remember the last time we looked at this. But you could just see how the volume profiles can help you understand where price is going to go next. It is the most powerful trading tool you could possibly use. And looking at the lower volume profile, you even had the value area low / weekly as your key level of support. That holds as support. Oh, you didn't have any significant daily bullish divergences. You didn't even have, wow, no bull divs down there. Like no 4-hour bull divs. Yeah, no 4-hour bull divs. You get like a 1. Did you get any kind of bullish diver? Yeah, so you got 1-hour bull divs down there. But just for the most part, right, this is where you want to look for longs. This range has been respected very well. Deviation above the high, back into the range, back to the POC, back to the low. Deviate the low, POC, value area high. Deviate the high, POC, value area low. Little bing bong around, value area low, back to the POC, back to the high, and then you break above your doorway to higher prices. Your macro doorway to higher prices, which was sitting here at $1.34. This opens up the doorway to get a move where? Into your POC. When I talk about these being doorways to higher prices, meaning the doorway to the POC, I mean it. Resistance, you break out, get into the range, right into the POC. So this actually is very nice. Very clean volume profile rotation, very clean volume profile rotation, at least to the POC. So this actually looks pretty nice and very, very cleanly moving through the profile. So let's take a look at the daily here real quick. Daily money flow. Let me hide this. I'm trying to get better at closing the object tree so you guys can see a little better. Take a look at the weekly. Yeah, weekly green dot printing. Money flow coming up. I mean, this weekly money flow could be big, right? Especially with the environment that we're entering right now. Potential alt season coming down the line. That weekly money flow crossover into the green could indicate a much bigger continuation of the overall macro trend. Stay inside this volume profile, you could look for the full fill. So as long as you don't lose this value area low at $1.35, I would say, doorway to the POC, back to the POC is open, and the idea of filling that whole profile in full, remember, it can be very confusing at times. Sometimes altcoins like to fill very aggressively, but even if you came back down here, right, you could look for that full fill of the volume profile. If you lose that value area low and get accepted back into the lower range, well, you have a clear view on what price is very likely to do next, right? Because you can just look to rotate that lower profile. As long as you remain above this value area low, POC and value area high are open. Value area high sits at 312, POC at 221, value area low at 134. So there you go. Very nice. Clean, clean, clean volume profile rotation. Even here, right? I mean, massive deviation above. But once you get back in, POC, value area low. hold the low, POC, value area high. I repeat this time and time again, guys, for a reason. It's a very high probability moves. So there you go. There is WLD, or WOLD, as some people like to say. Wait for Adam and Eve pattern, or the Andy Cup in handy. Shout out to Wick's wife. Or Wick's wife's boyfriend, I guess I should say. We're going to have Wick's wife's. We're going to have Wick's girlfriend, Wick's mistress, Wick's wife's boyfriend's sister's cousin. Shout out to the Wicks out there. Who is this? I have a feeling this is somebody we know. Polly. Shout out to Gen Z. Let's take a look at let's take a look at yeah, what do you want to see here? Is it you want to see Matic? Is this thing still, what is this thing doing? Yeah, this thing, I'm not going to lie, guys. The rebrand, I think, was the worst decision they ever made. But 3-day money flow crossing over into the green, if this is what you wanted to see, Gen Z. 3-day money flow crossing over into the green after being in the red for 456 days. That's out of control. So, yeah, nice to see some green here on the money flow. You got the red dot, so still could be choppy. But, you know, you would hope, you would really hope that this thing is going to get some kind of recovery here. Let me pull this volume profile real quick. Let me just see it here. Yeah. I mean, you got work to do here, to be honest. I mean, we'll just see if we can get a push up here. I really don't even think it's worth giving levels here. I mean, this thing's got to get moving. 3-day money flow crossover doesn't look too bad. 4-day money flow attempting to come up. 2-day money flow complete chop. Daily money flow coming out. Yeah, this is just, oh man, we need these. We need money flow to reset. I would say the high time frame money flow on this doesn't look too bad. It is all coming up. Doesn't mean it goes up in a straight line, right? You could still get corrections here, but once that money flow crossover happens on the weekly, the 6-day, the 5-day, the 4-day, it's already happening on the 3-day. So hopefully this leaks into the rest of the higher time frames and we can kind of continue a bigger trend to the upside here. But I would say like really big key level to get above, in my opinion, would be 51 cents. Once you get back into 51 cents, you could start to work your way back up here into this profile and then maybe fill that range in full. But you got a lot of work here to do on Poly. I would say high time frame money flow, though, doesn't look horrible. But you have a lot of red dots, so I would say, you know, I would expect cool-offs. But trend-wise, higher time frames don't look super bad. But you really got to start breaking out here. Let's crack above these highs and start pushing this thing up. And let me just check an anchored VWAP here real quick. What is that sitting at? Yeah, I mean, you have the anchored VWAP from this significant high at about 51 cents as well. So I'll keep that on the chart. That's going to be key. Let's see. Big Wick Energy. Good Lord. MYX. Yeah, let's take a look at that real quick. This thing. Good Lord. Oh, yeah. We covered this a while ago. I mean, this thing's just up in a straight line. It's very hard because there's not a ton of high time frames that I can look at on this, right? Like, we pull up the weekly, there's just no information on Market Cipher. We had some levels down here. That daily MPOC didn't even get tapped. This thing just wiggled around. I mean, we looked at this one time. Like, when everyone asked me to look at this thing was just, like, right here. So it's, like, nothing we could really look at other than the MPOCs. But, yeah, this is, like, impossible to do TA on. There's just not – I mean, I can say that, like, you know, we can pull a fib, but it's just, like – it's just super – this is, like, so hard to do TA on this. Even through this, right? It's, like – you know, I could try to pull a profile here. It's just like this thing, like TA on a chart like this may not be the most helpful until you come back down, right? If you come back down, I mean, you have a golden pocket here sitting between 770 and, 771 and 716. Lose that. Your 786 is sitting at about 473. But other than that, like, there's just not a lot to do here. There's just not much to work on. It's just straight up it's just up in a straight line. I mean, 2-hour money flow, thick in the green. Daily money flow, not a ton of information, but money flow coming up. It's just, like, very hard to read a chart like this. It's very nice. It's going up. I like that. But, yeah, I mean, I can mark out this volume profile as well. One thing I can say for sure is if this thing decides to come back down, very likely these levels will get some kind of respect. And if you come down to this volume profile, you can 100% treat it as a volume profile. Come on down to a low enough time frame, I wouldn't be surprised if you see actual interaction with all of these levels. What's the market cap on this thing? Market cap is, oh wow, it's pretty big. But yeah, I can say if you do come back down, these levels will probably get respected. It's just a simple volume profile. Little reaction off the POC, barely. It just pushes right up through that profile. But other than that, like, there's not a ton I can do here. I mean, I could pull a local profile on here, I guess, as well. But I just don't know how helpful this will be, right? It's just like, it's the 15-minute time frame. But I would say, I mean, this is bullish. It's going up in a straight line. I would say the biggest key levels going to be sitting here, 773 for the golden pocket, 475 at the 786. Once you lose that, maybe you can get a move back down to your value area. But that's pretty much all I can really do. There's not much to do here on these straight lines up. But very nice. Shout out to anybody holding this. I mean, this thing has been cooking since the last time, right? Like 2,500%, now up 16,000%. It's crazy. But there you go. Let me see something here. Where'd it go? Let me come back in the chat real quick. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Said, can we look at the U.S. dollar again? Please. Absolutely. Shout out to Golden. Yeah, let me take a look at this on a higher time frame. I don't think I have really a marked up DXY chart. Kind of just look at this plain. So yeah, weekly red dot has printed. Hasn't really given us much of a move down yet, but I would still say this weekly money flow is pretty strong in the red. Last significant money flow crossover we had that went into the red was all the way back here. When was this? June 2020. Massive move up on Bitcoin. So I would still say money flow still pretty fresh in the red here on the weekly. Daily money flow starting to come back up. I'll be honest, Golden. I don't really know if I have 12-hour money flow crossing into the red. Yeah, I don't really know if I have much of an update. I mean, weekly money flow is still in the red. That's decent. 2-week money flow in the red. What's that monthly doing? Monthly just kind of green dot looking to print. Yeah, this is yeah, money flow. I mean, especially on the DXY is just I don't know if I really have much of an opinion on this. It's just very yeah, I would say weekly money flow crossover into the red is nice. That's really the only thing I could take away from this, to be honest. The daily's kind of coming up, but with the weekly money flow coming out, that could just be for lower highs and lower lows, or we might just hang out down here, to be quite honest. Try. I don't know if that'll print on the DXY. Probably not. So, yeah. Dang, Golden. I wish I can give you more, bro. But the weekly money flow, I mean, the red dot printed didn't really give us much of a move down, but the money flow is still in the red. Low time frame money flow is coming up. I would say short term, maybe a push up. Like shorter term. As you have the daily money flow coming up, you also have the 1 hour money flow coming up. You know, this could indicate a little bit of a push up, but that's about it. I would say short term, maybe a little bit of a push up, but weekly money flow is still looking pretty weak here. 2-week money flow also still looking pretty weak, right? Because not only is it in the red, it's come up, it's pushing back down, red dot incoming. So I'd say maybe short term, bullish, if that's what you want to call it, right, for a push up. And then higher time frame, still a little bit more bearish neutral. So there you go. Shout out to Golden. Shout out to Jack. Thank you for the super chat. Jack Boogie says, hit the like button, familia. Hey, guys, smash that like button. We're going for 550, baby. Let's do it. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Lucky. Says, it's boring PA when Frankie only gives BTC 15 minutes and starts to cover 10 alts in no time. Wake up, BTC. Finally a short stream. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to lie, guys. I've been thinking. Like I said yesterday, I've been thinking about potentially like taking a little bit of a break. Not just like a general break, but like a break on these like super sideways times to just save my energy and maybe put out market updates, right? I could shoot a 20-minute market update and get all that in and like save my energy for the 2-hour stream. And then when price goes crazy, then we can go for some crazy streams and probably go live for 4 hours at a time. But it's just too hard for me to stay away. I can't do it. Every time I think, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just take tonight off. I'll drop a market update. I just can't do it, guys. I just can't do it. Frankie's still going hard. I thought you said it was going to be a short stream. Yes, it is going to be a short stream, guys. It is going to be a short stream. I'll take a look at one more altcoin. Actually, it's not a short stream. It's already a long stream. Yeah, so here's the thing, guys. You know why this happens most of the time? I'll give you a little insight. I kind of judge the stream time by our typical views. The typical views right now are much lower because of price action on Bitcoin. Very likely, I would hope. So I'm like sitting here waiting to get to like our normal views that we hit after 2 hours, and it's much lower than that right now. So I think we're way earlier than we actually are. I literally thought it was going to be 7 o'clock. It's 7:35. Let's see. Shout out to Wig589. Said Tom Crown has the spiciest M2 SL charts. Shout out to Wig589. I would take your word for that, bro. Tom Crown's got some spicy charts. Can't lie about that. You're awesome, dude. Shout out to Rudy. I appreciate you. You're awesome, bro. No, you. Let's see. Quick look at gold and silver, please. Hey, shout out to Fantasy Killer. Tuning in live from prison. Shout out to Fantasy Killer. Let's take a look. Yeah, we actually have been taking a look at gold recently. Take a quick look at it. Yeah, all right. Well, pushing back into our second level of resistance here. Yeah, gold on a ripper here. Back into our Fibonacci, or not back into, but pushing into our Fibonacci extension at 36.57. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Next level above this, guys. I mean, we looked at this yesterday. I think we didn't hit this. When did we hit this? Hang on. Oh, we hit this today. Right? Yeah. All right. Well, we looked at this yesterday. Now we're here. Next level to the upside is going to be 37.34. What I would like to see, pull up the Higanashi candles. What I would like to see here is that weekly bear div invalidated? No. So it is pushing up, but I just can't ignore this, guys. We have massive resistance up here on gold, up to 37.34. Even if we push up there, we do have an opportunity to put higher highs in on our price action with lower highs on our momentum waves. I mean, this is a classic weekly bearish divergence into a key level of support, resistance. I would be aware of this, right? We could continue to potentially push up into these levels, but if we get the higher high to come in and we start getting a rejection from this level and we start printing, this VWAP rolls over, we get the red dot and the lower high on our momentum waves, that might be where we start to see gold pull back. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Yesterday, we looked for this level at 36.57. We're here. I don't know if you're going to continue up. Let me take a look at the daily real quick. Red dot printing, so maybe we get a little cool off. You don't have to push up here to put the weekly bear div in, but it's a waiting game, right? You have to wait. I can't say that, even that daily red dot could pull you back and then you push back up here. But I will be watching this weekly chart. If we can, I think once you get that weekly bear div, that is where you're going to be seeing a bigger pullback on gold. But until then, shout out to anybody who's holding gold. I do not hold. I mean, I don't hold any like actual bricks of gold. I have some gold stuff, has like gold jewelry and stuff, but nothing really probably worth being excited over. Gold pumping. So shout out to anybody who stacks gold regularly. You've been in quite the bull market here. This thing has been cooking. Who says gold doesn't move? But yeah, there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on gold. Nothing really too exciting other than hitting that target. Next target, 37.34. Watch out for that weekly bearish divergence. And with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you have not pressed the like button, smash that thing up because we're going to need the help here in this sideways price action, guys. This is not great for views. So push that press that like button, guys. Smash that like button and push us out into that algorithm. Help us get some extra views in this choppy price action. Hop in the car and go vroom vroom. Shout out to Wick's wife's boyfriend. Shout out to Nettie Wreck. All right, let me see. Have you covered gold, Frankie? Wow, shout out to Daniel. That's really funny. He must be like a couple minutes behind. He's going to be like, what the heck? I predicted the future. So, yeah, if you're watching this in the future, Daniel, we did just look at gold. All right, so with all that being said, guys, just keep an eye on Bitcoin. Wait till the bear market. Shout out to Gen Z. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next bull market, guys. I'm taking off. I can't stand the sideways price action. But yeah, on Bitcoin, guys, we'll see what happens here. You know, let me pull up my regular candle. I'm not going to pull up the chart, but I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through this as I sign off. Yeah, 115K, next biggest level of resistance. Next local level of support, though. And maybe I will just pull up the chart. Just to kind of wrap up here, if anybody's just tuning in and doesn't want to scrub back to the beginning of the stream. Watching this value area low sitting at about 109.9. If we could lose the POC at 111.221, I'm expecting a move down here. But for the most part, we're looking for a push into the 115K macro resistance or a push down here to either local support or a sweep of those 107K lows. Other than that, I will be sitting here bing-bonging around with the premium Discord inside of this range until something hopefully exciting happens. So, with all that being said, that's all. Let's sell everything. Shout out to Kellephant. That's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully, shout out to Golden. Get to those 50 Frankie Candles membership. Unbelievable. Golden coming in last minute with the memberships. I guess we probably hit 420 likes is my guess. Or Golden just loves the Mafia that much to drop 50 memberships. Golden, thank you so much. You're an absolute legend. And, hey, don't gift memberships and drive GT3 RSs around a racetrack, Golden. That is dangerous, and we want you to stay around because we love you, bro. But shout out to Golden. Thank you for the memberships. Thank you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out, and I will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
What's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them two bells ready. Spin it for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Hey, shout out to Panda the Prophet. I think we're on the schedule tonight for McDonald's. I'm on the burgers. You're on drive-thru. That's the dream team at McDonald's. And until Bitcoin moves, we got to keep these job. We got to keep this job, bro. So I'll see you at McDonald's. If you guys come by, we'll give you some free McFlurries. I'm just kidding. The ice cream machine is broken. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know
on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal